Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Tuplex. I'm here in the southwest corner of the base where we are making our clay brick. We've got plenty of clay brick now, by the way. We've got 5,000, so this is all essentially stopped. Our fuel production seems to be going well. And over here I've made a couple of minor changes in between episodes. So I added a passenger station, or what I'm calling main engineering. This is going to be my personal train for moving around the base. Eventually I'll start loading it with supplies, you know, belts and inserters and mining drills and all that sort of thing. And then I have also added a train station to unload coal. So here, as I mentioned before, I'm using the bulk rail unloaders. The train has already made a couple of trips, so there's already some material in here. And then basically what we'll do is just unload with a couple of loaders and get this over to wherever we need coal. So I'd like to show you this working. The train is... Okay, well, first of all, how did I get here? Well, I added a junction here. And then brought it over to close to the base. And again, I'm using 1-2-1 trains, so we don't need a complete loop. We can have the trains come into a station at a dead end, and then they can reverse out. And I set it up like this so that I can, as I work my way down, I can add as many different stations as I want here close to the main base, by just extending these lines down and adding more exit stations. All right, so this is the exit from the main line into the base, and then this is the return rail. But all the stations themselves are going to be single track. All right, and I just restarted, and I'm getting kind of a FPS issue here, and I think it might be related to these. I'm not sure, but anyway, if you hover over these, you can see that they are 4 tiles wide. This yellow box is where you can pick up materials. All right, so we could have up to 4 loaders on this. Now that is less than what you would have, than what you could do on a typical rare station. You know, you could have 6 inserters, but once you get the train unloaded, which this does quite quickly, I don't anticipate that we would need more than, say, 4 loaders per side coming out of this. So I think this will be sufficient. And right now I'm just going to merge them into one belt because we don't need more than a single yellow belt of coal at this point in time. All right, so I added that. I added another U-turn up here just so trains can turn around. There was a small biter base here that I took out with some turrets. And then down here, this is pretty much how we left it last time, except that I added some additional mining drills. Actually, it looks like I used the wrong type over here. These should be large area drills, so I'm going to have to fix that. But this train is full. It's got 16,000 coal, so let's go ahead and bring it back here. And I'm getting a no path message. Okay. So I'm guessing that I probably have a signaling problem over here somewhere. Or maybe I have an incomplete rail. Let's see. Just checking the blocks to see if I have any discontinuities. And I don't see any. This should be fine. And then from here, it would come down over to here. And that's all green. So I'm a little puzzled about that no path. So what I'll do is, let's go over there and see if we can troubleshoot this. We'll head over to coal. This will get me close to it at least. I won't be able to enter the station though, since it's busy. At least if my signaling is set up properly, that's the case. Okay. And then what we can do to troubleshoot this is I will start to drive this train manually back to the station. So I'll come down here first. Actually, let's fix those. There we go. Yeah, something is really lagging me out here. This is starting to get frustrating, to be quite honest, because I'm rebooting and doing all the things that I think I should to avoid any kind of a lag issue, and I'm still getting them. I don't know why. Okay. Can I make any more of those big ones? Yes, I can. All right, let's do that. I think I only need 2 of these over on this side to get all this area here. Yeah, if I put that one there and then put that one there. Yeah, I'm only missing this one little corner. And I think I can live with that. Okay. Now it could be that my computer is doing a, some kind of virus scan or something since I restarted. Who knows? Okay, so actually, what I'd like to do is get past this signal. Okay, now let's go to automatic again, and now it's going. Okay, so duh. Okay, well there's my problem. I need another signal on this side of the track because this is 2 ways. All right, well, the good news is that it was very easy to fix. So let me go back into the station. Is that right? Nope. Try again. Back up, turn right. There we go. Okay. So let me get back into the station. So we'll go to coal until full, and then it should leave immediately. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I need to have signals on both sides of the track where it's going in one direction. This is absolutely horrible. 37 frames per second. Okay, so here we are, and then we can see that these unload very quickly. Right, I mean, basically they unload with the speed of either 4 or 6, I don't remember which, stack inserters. And my understanding of the way that this mod works is that as you get more stack inserter bonuses, then the speed of the unloading will also increase. Okay, so that unloads fairly quickly. Now, I don't think I want these to completely fill up with coal. So I'm going to limit them now. These will hold about 24,000. And I think I can copy that. Yeah. Yeah, so I'll limit these just so that we don't have ungodly quantities of coal. That's not necessary, and I do want to make sure that we have that coal available for other uses in other places in the game. So, all right, and then the coal itself, we would need to feed up here and then merge with, I'd like to merge with this belt out of this silo. Okay, so let's see, where would be a good place to bring that belt? Yeah, I think just up the side here would be good. We'll come up here. And then I'm going to give this a priority. Or no, I want input priority. And I want the input priority to be on the right. And the reason for that is because I would prefer to use all of the coal in the main base first. One, two, okay. Yeah, I'd like to use all the coal in the main base first because I want to get rid of the resource patches that we have in the main base, just so that we have room to do other things. So all of our starting ore patches, my goal is to get those completely depleted. I mean, I'm not in a hurry to do so, but I want those to be depleted before we start bringing in external resources. Okay, actually, let's do this over here. 1, 2. Okay. Good. So that will start to unload and get that over there, and that way when we run out of coal here in the main base, we'll have plenty of coal ready to go. That's not going to happen for a while. This is our main base coal. I suppose I could rename this. Okay, so that's the coal in the main base. It's only down to 50%. It'll last for quite a while, at our current rate of consumption at least. And then the coal in coal 1, I added those to the resource monitor as well. So those are called coal 1. This is the expendable portion. And then the infinite portion I had to add separately because the infinite ore is based on a percent, kind of like an oil well is, rather than a discrete value. So what I'll do is in the future I'll just call it, coal 1 and then coal 1 infinite, and we'll use that naming convention for the other resource patches as we add them later. Okay, now it'll take a while for this train to empty, but that's fine. Okay, let's see. Oh, I also wanted to mention stone. I had an issue where my stone belt became empty, and it's because I was using stone to make rail for the trains, and all of the stone in the warehouse had been depleted by the time I did that. It had all been turned into stone brick. So I made a couple changes here. What I did is, well, first of all, I stopped sending stone to make stone brick because I have 43,000 stone brick in the warehouse, and that's more than enough. And then I added a separate output for stone to go onto the bus instead of using the splitter here. That way I can control stone to make bricks versus stone for other purposes. And then I put these two assembly machines to create stone from the crushed stone, because all I'm bringing in now is crushed stone. So I need to continue to make stone to go to where it's needed. So I added these two, and what I did is I just set the limiter on the inserters putting crushed stone into these machines. I set them to only work if I have less than 1,000 stone in the warehouse. So that way we'll keep crushed stone because I need that for things like mineralized water and so forth. But then when I do need regular stone, we will convert it as necessary. Now I would like to head over there to put in the production of stone brick, because I do want stone brick to be made when that's needed. But I just don't want it to... I don't want to get a full warehouse of stone brick. I don't think that that's necessary at this point. And as you can see, it's getting close to full. So what I'll do is I will limit this thusly. We could probably even just turn this into a... We could probably use a silo here instead, but in this case, the... Yeah, why don't we replace it with a silo? I'm going to have to do this in a couple different stages here. But first, let's empty my inventory. And I'll just start putting all this into the silo. Alright, so that's a full silo. And I still have a lot left. Okay, well, I guess I can't do that. Alright, we'll leave it in the warehouse. Okay, so what I want to do over here is... I actually need another... Let's see. Okay, this should be stone only coming out. I just copied the filter settings from the other one. Okay. So I'm just going to move this. I'm just going to move this down one so that I can... Let's see. So these should all three be stone. Yeah. So that way I can put that that splitter there so I can get a full red belt of stone. Okay, so we'll consume a little bit more stone now to make some more stone brick. But it will stop once we reach the limit on this warehouse, which is going to be when that row is filled. Okay, so we'll produce a little bit more, and then the belt will fill up, and then these will stop. Okay. Another thing that I've done is you may remember at the beginning when I started the game, I had forgotten to turn off biter expansion. So I disabled it with a console command, and I had also wanted to disable evolution and pollution when I started the game. Now pollution, you can remove pollution. You can remove all existing pollution with a console command, but once you start the game, there's no way to turn pollution off completely, at least not to my understanding. So what I did instead is I disabled the evolution of the enemy with these two console commands. So this first one sets evolution to 0 based on time, and the second one sets evolution to 0 based on pollution. Those are the two factors that are taken into account in the evolution of the enemies, as they get bigger and more powerful. It's the amount of time that's passed and how much pollution they're being affected by. So in this case, I set both of those factors to 0, so they shouldn't get any more fearsome than they are currently. All right, so the stone coming out right now is a little slow. It's just limited by these machines, but I think this is fast enough to give us what we need. Now the other thing I did is I started a to-do list, which I'm just using map labels to do this. So I'm just adding some some items in here that I want to get to in the near future. And the three that I'm thinking of now are robots, military science, and electronic circuits. Now, the electronic circuits I would like at this point mainly just so that I can start making logistic train stops, so that we can get that implemented into the rail network before we get too far. As for robots, I would like to start to get some personal construction robots. But in order to make those, well, because I want to replace nanobots, that's why I want them. That's my first priority for the bots, is replace the nanobots with real construction bots. So I'm going to use the Bob's version of the construction bots as opposed to the Angel's construction bots. Now those I can already make, obviously. But I think I'm going to be using, going forward, I think I'm going to be using the Bob's bots, which are similar to the vanilla bots, but they can be upgraded. There are different levels of those bots later on. You know, there's like a Mark II, a Mark III, probably even higher levels than that. So I'd like to get some construction bots, and I'm also going to need a personal RoboPort. All right, but the first level of personal RoboPort is going to require electronic circuit boards, which are the white ones, and we can't make those yet. And I think there's personal RoboPort equipment will be another good one. I think that will... Oh, I'm sorry, that's vehicle RoboPort equipment. I thought there was a... I could be wrong, but I thought that there was a personal generator. Right, so there's a burner generator for vehicles, and I thought that there was a personal version of those as well. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I still have to get up to fusion reactors. Let's see. Let's take a look at power armor. There's different levels of power armor. Modular armor. There's battery. Okay, that's a regular battery. Well, anyway, I'll do some research on that. I thought that there was like a personal version of a generator so that you don't have to tech up to the fusion reactor before you get any decent power. But there are also higher levels of portable solar panels, so maybe that's what's going to save the day. Right? We have Mark II solar panels. Let's see, the Mark I gives us 10 kilowatts. The Mark II gives us 15 kilowatts. Mark III goes up to 25. Okay, so yeah, so maybe we just go to Mark II solar panels. But in any case, we're going to need those. We're going to need those electronic circuit boards, and then military science we need to do. We have the technology to do it now. That is fairly iron hungry. So I'm not going to do it right now. I'm not in a big hurry for the tech. But I think what we need to do is get the electronic circuit boards made first, and then with those we can do a few key researches with blue science packs, like the personal RoboPorts and so on. Now those we can make already. Those require the electronic circuit boards as well. We're also going to need bronze plates. So let's add that to my list. Bronze plates. Actually, we can add the icon here too. There we go. So we're going to want bronze plates and electronic circuits. With the bronze plates, we can also make the fast loaders. That's actually that's the only thing that we're missing to make those. So, with all of that being said, I think making bronze plates might be a good thing to start with. But let's see what the ingredients are. We would need copper ingots and tin ingots. Okay. Sorry, I had a phone call. Yeah, so for the bronze, we're going to need tin ingots. And tin we need from tin ore. And the tin ore we can get from sorting. We can sort crushed bobmodium that would give us tin and silicon. Or we can do crushed cupric ore. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what would be better to do right now. I think I'm going to go for the circuits first. And the reason is because I got some advice that sounded good from one of the viewers, and he was saying that that rather trying to scale up, production quantities and stuff at this earlier in the game, his recommendation was instead to focus on getting to higher efficiencies and better recipes of converting tier 0 resources. So what I think he meant by tier 0 are the things that we get out of the ground, coal, bobmodium, rubite. Right now we're still using the most inefficient methods of processing these, with the exception of copper and iron ore for steel right now. There we're at least at a tier 1 level. Now there are higher levels of ore processing that we can get to that will allow us to get more plates from a given input of ore. So I think that's good advice, and that's what I would like to start. I guess I'd like to start teching up the ore processing and making plates before we start making more complicated items. Right. So the next level for me would be to do combination sorting. Right, so if we look at iron ore, right now we do crushed sapphirite or crushed steatite, and we get slag, and we get 2 kinds of ore. And that's not really very good when, like in our case, I'm really only interested in iron ore. So if you want to get pure iron ore, you can do that. So one way would be to use crushed ferrous ore. Now that gives you iron ore and manganese ore, but the manganese can be used to make manganese ingots, and the manganese ingots can be combined with iron to make molten iron. So essentially, getting manganese, it adds some extra steps, but it allows you to get to, it could basically be converted into iron. Normally you get 12 iron ingots to 120 molten iron. So here you can make I guess this would simulate making an iron alloy where you have 12 iron and 12 manganese and get 240, right? So the manganese can essentially be converted into iron, and it looks like it can also be used for molten aluminum. So that would be one option. And the nice thing about this is you don't need any catalysts, right? We can do this already. We just have to set up the infrastructure. Now, the other way to get pure iron, which is really what my priority is to do sorting with a combination of sapphirite and givelite and a mineral catalyst. And if you do that, you get pure iron ore. And there are comparable recipes for copper, for for lead and all the other metals that we need. And this is what I want to start to move towards, because with the combo sorting, we can get to a point where we can make only the ores that we need in the quantities that we want them, without a lot of extra byproducts, right? There's no slag here. So this is what I want to work towards. And to do that, we need to make mineral catalysts. The mineral catalyst comes from mineral sludge, which comes from slag slurry and purified water. And slag slurry comes from slag, right? I told you we were going to use the slag. It comes from slag and sulfuric acid, or it comes from crushed stone and sulfuric acid. So this is where all this slag and crushed stone that we're accumulating, I'm planning to use that primarily to make mineral catalyst. Right, and then there are even higher levels of this combo sorting. Right, you can do combo sorting with chunks as well. Right, so let's look at saphirite chunks, for example. So saphirite chunks, you get even more ores out of it if you sort it directly. But then again, you can do saphirite chunks and bobmonium to get silicon. So there are some of the other ores that you need. You can further refine the ores and get more items. So that's what I want to start working towards. But by doing that, we're going to have lots of ingredients that are going to need to be transported all over the map. And for that, I really want the Logistics Train Network stops. And for that, of course, I need the electronic circuit boards. So electronic circuit boards will be our first priority. And why don't I see them? There we go. So for those, we need solder, which we can already make. Basic electronic components we already make. Transistors we don't make, and circuit boards we don't make. So transistors are going to need silicon. So maybe we're gonna have to do some sorting anyway. All right. So let's start a path towards getting those items. Now we're going to need. Now solder and basic electronic components we're already making a lot of over here. So it would be nice if I could export some of that from this area to use to make those other circuits, because I really have a lot of excess capacity here. And this was that was another piece of advice that I got, which was to put all this stuff on separate belts rather than doing all this direct insertion. And I wish I had that advice earlier, because I didn't really know that I was going to need it. And that's part of the reason why I've been releasing multiple videos to get caught up, so that the advice that I get will help me before I get too far ahead. Okay, now I may be able to retrofit things here, right? I could do this. Whoops. Not that way, actually. Right, if I do this, what the heck? There we go. Then I can get electronic components out. So let's do that. I could probably be doing this with blueprints more quickly, but all right, and let's offset that. And then we'll make a blueprint. Oops. There. Okay, I need more blue inserters. Okay, so now we can export some of those basic electronic components, and we can use those for the electronic circuit boards. And then we can do the same with the solder. Now this we already put on a belt. In fact, let's change this. I'm going to change these offsets. Let's see, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. That one, that one, that one, that one, that one. So what I'll do is I'll just change this so I'm only loading those electronic components on the far side of the belt. And then we can take solder from the end of this belt and put it onto the other side. And that way we'll have a... Do I really want to do that though? Then we could have a combined belt. But maybe it would be good just to have full belts of both of these. I think it would. Because I'm probably going to need this. I'm probably going to need this stuff somewhere else too. Yeah. So let me just... Crap. All right, the second one I want to be short. Not the first one. Am I doing that right? Yeah, so every fourth one we need to make short. Four, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, sorry about that. I'm trying to figure this out as I go along here. Okay. And then we can do, let's see. All right, I'm gonna need a red belt. Or no, I can do, yeah, we could have a belt here. If I upgrade this power pole, like that, then I can have a belt here. Okay, and then we can drop that on the north side. And this one I want to drop on the north side, but close. Okay, need more belts. Thank goodness for the adjustable inserters. North side, close. Okay. All right, so now we've got solder and electronic components, and those are going to go down there. Let's see, we've got circuits. I'll leave these two belts for other circuits. Then we've got engines. So I think we can run those down, these belts that we have next to the engines. And I'll just put those on the bus, and then that way we'll have them available for other purposes. I'm not sure if those electronic components are going to be used elsewhere. Okay, yeah, I guess they are used for other circuit boards as well that we haven't gotten to. All right, so that's good. Yeah, these seem to have lots of purposes. Right, so you know, as I mentioned when I started this series, I'm not an expert by any means on Angels and Bobs, so I'm going to be learning the best way to do things as I go. All right, that should jump over as well. There we go. Let's get this brought down. Okay. All right, is that gonna work? What have I done wrong? There we go. I got a little confused with this extra belt there. Okay, so there is the solder and the circuits, or the basic electronic components, I should say. I already picked up my turret production, and I'm going to go ahead and put that there. I decided for now just to carry 5 with me, and a couple stacks of red ammo. Actually, one full stack will be fine. There we go. Okay, so let's look at the rest of our. Well, you know, we're already out of time, so in the next episode, what I will do is start to set this up in HellMod, so we can figure out ratios, and let's take a look at transistors. Yeah, so I think we'll put transistors on its own belt that goes onto the bus. Because that has uses in a lot of other places. But we'll start to set this up in HellMod to figure out what we need to make these things. So we'll need to produce transistors and circuit boards and then combine them all into the electronic circuit boards. Now the circuit boards I think are going to be the hard part because those require some solution that we're not making. They need phenolic boards. Okay, that's not too bad. Wood and resin. I thought that we needed plastic for these. Maybe the recipe changed. Oh, we need plastic for the transistors. Okay, yeah. The plastic is going to be the difficult part. That's going to require a whole separate process. But we'll get into that in the next episode. We'll start to design those things so that we can start making those circuits. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Appreciate it as always. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.